Hi everyone, I'm Pete Saxby, Director of Bókun for Asia Pacific region. Thank you for joining me today in a first of a series of chats with operators from around our region. In the current global situation, it's never been more important to come together as a travel industry community to support each other and ensure that we're ready for when the travellers return, and they will return. This series will help shine a light on what other suppliers are doing at this time and hopefully give some candid insights in how some of our Bókun operators are coping with the current situation with little to no travel. Today I'm delighted to introduce Laura Blackall, founder and CEO of Hello Tours, who operate in Hong Kong, Singapore, and where Laura is currently based, Tokyo.
I mean, it's horrific. It's impacted us all. I think until fairly recently, it was more of an Asian thing. We've been dealing with it here for 3 months now, since January. That was when our Hong Kong business started to go down. And back then, a lot of the travel advice was don't travel to Asia or don't travel to certain countries in Asia. But then a few weeks ago, the whole world went into lockdown and it changed. And now it is just a do not travel situation, and everyone everywhere is suffering. It's no longer an Asian thing. We probably have slightly more perspective on it being in Asia, having the stress levels start a little bit earlier. They've evened out a little bit now, whilst I know some operators in the US, for example, are really just going into it. But they're going into it so much harder over there as well. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. I think the most stressful thing for us is you have zero control over the situation. You have zero control over the virus. You have zero control over how the governments choose to react and deal with it and how that affects your business. So the danger is that you feel completely helpless.
Yeah.
The only thing that I do know is that we will all move past this. The world will reopen again and people will travel again. So the question is, how long will it go on for, and how do you get through this period of time and through this unknown period of time? And I think, how do you try and regain some form of control or feel like you've got some form of control, which can help alleviate some of the stress? It's a case of looking at all of your costs, all of your fixed costs, and saying, okay, if this goes on for 3 months, how does that affect me? If it goes on for 6 months, how does that affect me? If it goes on for 9, if it goes on for a year, at what point do we run out of money?
Yeah.
And given that we don't know how long it will last, how do we make that little pool of savings that I've got last for as long as possible? And that involves some really horrible conversations with your staff. Most tour guides, I think globally, certainly in the countries that I operate in, they're freelance guides. So they're typically not on your payroll books, but they're paid when they actually deliver a tour. So it's an awful situation that they've got no tours, but they're also not a fixed salary cost of the business.
Yeah.
So you can almost move your tour guides to the side, or at least I could. Not from an emotional perspective, but from a financial perspective at least. But then my office team are all payrolled. So, I mean, I've literally had to have video chats with everyone and say, this is really awful, but can you please think about what's the minimum amount of money you can survive on over the next few months, because we're going to have to cut hours and cut salaries down. And that breaks my heart to do that to my team. But at the same time, I don't want to get rid of anyone entirely. And if we can stretch it out for as long as possible, that's a better solution for everyone. Oh, they've been incredibly understanding. Yeah, I mean, I went into those calls sweating and feeling sick, thinking I do not want to tell someone that I now need to pay them less. I mean, admittedly, I'm going to ask them to do less work as well, but to tell someone, they're going to have less money coming into their bank every month, yeah, it's the most awful thing that you have to do as an employer. But they've all actually turned around and said thank you. Thank you for not just closing down for a few months, and thank you for finding us different types of work that we can do. And yeah, okay, it's not as many hours and it's not as much, but something's better than nothing. And like, thanks for being considerate. So they actually made me feel better afterwards. Your initial reaction is, oh gosh, what on earth do we do now that there is nothing to do? But in reality, there's always something to do, and there's always ways that you can add value to your business. And we've actually had a list of things somewhere in the back of my head that I've been wanting us to do for such a long time, but we've never had the time because we've always been so busy actually processing bookings and speaking to customers. So now that's all disappeared. We're making so many improvements to the business, which is brilliant, because when it does come back, which it will, we'll be in a much, much better position. The quality of how we operate as a back office team will have improved. What we're able to offer our customers is improving. So there's so many good things that are coming out of it. One of the things we've been doing is adding a lot more content to our websites. So all stuff that's going to be really useful for customers that are looking at coming to the cities that we operate in. So we're building out our food guides in more detail. We're building out souvenirs to buy. We're doing more on nightlife and entertainment. And of course, not only does this make our website look more professional, but we can do all our little SEO keywords in the back as well, which will improve our Google rankings and then hopefully bring even more customers to us eventually. This was when the coronavirus was an Asian thing only, and it was more limited to Southeast Asia. Japan seemed to be in the clear, and our Japan business had fairly recently launched, so I was still geared into, right, let's try and get some bookings over here. Let's send out a mass market email to everyone that's done tours with us in our other locations. We'll give them a nice discount off a Japan tour. They can book it for any time in the future. So it went out just before the whole world went into lockdown. So it had absolutely zero success. Not a single person used it. It was entirely the wrong time to send that email. But along a similar line, when we've had some cancellations coming in, we've been asking people, would you prefer to take it as a voucher that you can redeem at any point in the future? And that way you're not having to pay your booking fees for a second time when you do rebook, because I think a lot of operators do pass on the credit card charges to the customers, and normally if you do a refund you don't include the credit card charges.
Correct.
So the customers would essentially end up paying twice. So we've been trying to convert them into a voucher, which also gave us a nice opportunity to redo all of the vouchers and make them all look a lot nicer.
Great.
So it's another small improvement. Sounds like the worst idea ever. Sorry to anyone that's doing it. Absolutely not, no. The race is still on. We're all still in it. We're all still running. We all still want to be the best tour operator in our location. Just because there's no travellers, it doesn't mean that the race has stopped. The people that hibernate are the ones that will get left behind now. People are online, and what are they doing online? Oh, they're thinking, where can I go when all this is over? Yeah. Where can I go when I can actually book a flight again? When I can leave my house? They are consuming huge amounts of social media and pictures, and they've got time on their hands, and I'm pretty sure they're planning. Like I'm planning. I thought, what will make me feel better right now? Okay, well, there's loads of places I haven't been to in Japan yet. Why don't I actually start planning a few long weekends that I can go on once it's safe to go out again? People are doing that all over the world. Absolutely. You need to make sure that you're updating your Facebook, your Instagram, your blogs, you're keeping people engaged, you're telling them, hey, don't forget about us. We're thinking of you. When are you coming back? We're waiting. I think we're going to be in lockdown and travel restrictions for a long time. But I think once it comes back, I think people are going to have that thirst and that I need to do this right now.
Yes.
Attitude. So I actually think it's going to bounce back faster than we thought. I know a lot of people are losing their income right now, not just in this industry, but across the board, whether you work in events management or you work in a retail shop, whatever you do, you're a builder, you can't go into people's homes anymore. So yes, people will have less money, but quite often the people that travel and book relatively expensive tours will be less affected by this. So I think the top end of the travel market will bounce straight back.
I think the other thing we've
talked about hibernation. Oh,
yes.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you want to try and have a look at every aspect of your business where there are things that cost you money, either in time or financially, and just say, how do we either make this easier and streamline it for the next few months, or can we reduce that cost? Can we eliminate it, or can we minimize it? And it's a really good exercise to do. Like some costs you cannot get rid of, but other ones you can. We use Werewolf, which is it's like a check-in system on an iPad and a waiver and disclaimer. And I contacted them the other day and just said, look, business has turned to ratchet. I can't afford to keep paying you. And they said, oh, we've got a hibernation plan, and it's a fraction of the cost of the normal plan. So don't necessarily think that all of your fixed costs are fixed. Reach out to people and have a conversation with them. And actually, going back to what you were saying earlier about the travel industry coming together and wanting to help, people really do want to help. Just that. I think it's a really shitty time and we all feel crap. And it's very easy to roll out of bed in the morning and feel down in the dumps about it all. Because the reality is, it does feel like your business has been completely taken away from you. Something that you worked so hard for so long and put so much graft into, and it on the surface it looks like it's vanished and it's gone. And people are worried about their own ability to pay their bills and look after their team, who are hugely valuable to them. But we will get through it, and the market will come back, and your business has not vanished. Just don't hibernate it, please. Even if you only spend 10 minutes a day, don't hibernate it. It will come back, and it will come back stronger than it was before. People will be desperate to travel, and just try and take control over whatever you can take control over. Don't run away from it or bury your head in the sand. Just take control over everything you can, and you'll feel so much better. So much better. Look, you can only ever try your best with everything in life, and if you do try your best, then you're not wrong. And everyone knows that you've tried your best, and absolutely. I just think that's the only thing you can do. And communicate with your team. Like, don't leave them in the dark about the situation. Just do your best by them, and they'll do their best by you.